All right, so take a look at this. What you're seeing here isn't just an old book. Think of it more like a time capsule. It's literally an instruction manual for a piece of human technology so ancient, its origins are pretty much lost to the mists of time. We're going to decode this amazing historical artifact, page by page.
And you know, that really brings us to the central question of this whole thing. Just imagine for a second. How on earth do you write a flawless, repeatable guide for something that's been passed down only by word of mouth for thousands of years? How do you capture every single tiny detail, every word, every gesture, and make sure it survives? Well, that is the incredible challenge that this document right here solves.
So let's begin our little archaeological dig. We're going to treat this text not just as something you read, but as a site to be excavated, layer by careful layer, so we can really understand its purpose and its genius. First off, the name itself gives us our biggest clue, Aadhan Paddhati. So Paddhati basically means method or a system, and Aadhan is all about the establishment of sacred fires. So right off the bat, we know we're looking at a how-to guide for one of the most fundamental rituals of the ancient Vedic tradition.
And this is the absolute key to getting it. You have to forget what you think of as a typical religious book, one filled with stories or commandments. This is something else entirely. It's way more like a highly specialized, incredibly precise technical manual. A manual for what its creators saw as a kind of sacred technology, a process for engaging with the cosmos.
All right, so how did they do it? How do you organize a whole universe of information like this? Let's metaphorically open the cover and take a look at the blueprint the authors left for us.
Now, what's really wild here is the date, 1891. Yeah, this isn't some ancient scroll. It's a modern printed book. And that's just fascinating because it represents this critical moment in history, the transfer of this immense body of ancient oral knowledge into the fixed, permanent format of print. It's a 3,000-year-old tradition meeting the printing press. Pretty cool.
And like any good manual, it comes with a map. In this case, it's the table of contents. I know, it might just look like a list, but trust me, this is actually the key that unlocks the entire logical structure of the ritual. It shows us exactly how they broke down this overwhelmingly complex process into nice, manageable parts.
And this map reveals a really clear four-part system. First, you've got the Prastavana, the introduction. It sets the stage, answers why are we doing this. Then, the Sambhahar, which is this incredibly detailed list of every single item you'll need. Third, the Prayoga. This is the core of it, the actual step-by-step instructions. And finally, and this part is just brilliant, the Mimamsa, a deep-dive philosophical investigation of the ritual itself. It's a completely self-contained system of knowledge.
So, we've seen the blueprint. Now, let's take a core sample. We're going to zoom in on a few pages to get a real, visceral feel for what this actually looked and felt like in practice.
Okay, so this is from the Sembara section, the materials list, and the level of detail it's just staggering. It's not just wood and a ladle, it's this specific type of wood, ladles of these exact shapes and sizes, these particular plants, these metals. Every single thing is specified. I mean, the preparation alone must have been an immense undertaking.
And that just perfectly illustrates the mindset, right? You have to think of it like a complex orchestral score. If one violinist is out of tune, or the oboist misses their cues, the whole performance is ruined. Well, in the same way, for the authors of this text, every single little tool, every single material was a critical note in a much larger cosmic symphony.
Now we're moving to the Prayoga, the actual procedure. And if the last section was the list of instruments, this is the sheet music itself. It really reads like a script for a play, or maybe choreography for a dance. It dictates exactly where you need to stand, how to move, what to hold, and which sacred formulas, or mantras, to say at that precise moment. Absolutely nothing is left to chance.
And woven all through this intricate choreography is this powerful, poetic language. Just take this one line. I am no Agnivari Vaha Krunotu. It means, may this fire grant us treasures. Every single action is paired with a specific utterance, a mantra, that's designed to focus the mind and make the act sacred. It's a total fusion of physical and linguistic precision. But this manual was designed to create more than just people who could follow rules. No, it opens a window into a vibrant intellectual world, and this might just be the most sophisticated part of the whole tradition. Which brings us to that final section, the Mimamsa. Just look at this page. Notice how different it looks from the lists and the step-by-step guides we saw earlier. This is dense, analytical text. This is where the authors didn't just tell you what to do. They debated endlessly about why you do it, what it all means, and how to resolve what look like contradictions in the tradition.
And that right there is the big takeaway. The goal was not to create unthinking automatons who could just follow a recipe. It was all about cultivating a deep, nuanced understanding of the system's inner logic. The performance of the ritual, that was just one part of a much, much larger intellectual and spiritual discipline.
So you see, this wasn't just religion as we might think of it today. It was a rigorous academic field. It demanded that you have expertise in logic, in interpreting texts, in formal philosophical debate, and in the critical thinking you'd need to resolve really complex contradictions. It was a complete intellectual pursuit.
And when you really step back and look at the big picture, you see the true genius of the Aadhan Paddhati. It's a system designed to preserve an entire universe. The goal wasn't just to save the steps of a dance, but to save the music, the composer's notes, the critical reviews, and the theory behind the music, the whole shebang, all in one package. It's about preserving meaning itself.
And all of this leaves us with a final thought to kind of chew on. The people who created this manual were obsessed with perfectly preserving what they believed was the most essential human knowledge. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we were to create a detailed manual like this for future millennia, what knowledge, what sacred technology of our own time would we choose to preserve? What is the one thing we just couldn't bear for the future to forget?